Oh, but you know what did happen today? Mom said, so I saw one of those, how do you say it, bum fights. I said, that is how I say it. I said, where? She said they were doing that thing where they at each other across the parking lot.
How you say in español? ¿Cómo se dice?
Bum fight.
Bum fight. Welcome to Read It and Screech podcast.
Dedicated to anyone who has ever felt like they don't belong in this world and those whose hearts have always pined for captivating magic, soul-bursting love, and fearless adventure. Let the space between these pages welcome you home time and again on your journey into our fantasy land. Welcome to Solaria. Home I fuck. You're shitting me.
Come sit with us while I give you the cliff notes of the cringiest quotes.
That was the cringiest quote, in case you were wondering. It was that one.
And we go screeching all the way.
If you've been looking for the cringiest quote, here it is.
This week we present Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham and Susanne Valenti. This is written by sisters. Sisters who write smut gives me a very icky feeling. Because how do you do that? It's like watching porn with a sibling. But people are into it. Also, they call themselves Twisted Sisters. So this might become a problem for us at a later date.
That's a mystery mouse tool for later.
512 pages, which is long. And it was formerly called something else that was not a catchy name. And also unclear why it's called Zodiac Academy and not Zodiac University. Because Zodiac Academy, denotes children. And it's about college students. So I don't know why you would call it Zodiac Academy.
Vampire Academy is about
Odd.
borderline.
Also,
It's probably because it's English and they have University Academy.
12 hours and 10 minutes by audiobook. There's a graphic audio option, which is where they do the full cast of characters and sound effects. And that one is only 9 hours and 47 minutes, which is kind of weird because usually the graphic audio is longer because of the sound effects. The regular audiobook, narrated by Bridget Bordeaux. 3.8 on Goodreads. There are 9 full-length books in this.
Absolutely not.
There are 19 total books.
Absolutely not.
Count the spin-offs.
Nope.
It is a dual first-person point of view, which was hard to keep up with for me, even though it was only 2 people. It is mostly set in Solaria, which is a fae world that mirrors the human world. It's basically like the Wizarding world in Harry Potter, where it's the same. And the fae fit into categories of vampires, shapeshifters, werewolves, Pegasus, etc. It's kind of like ACOTAR, because you know how ACOTAR, the different fae, some can shift, some can't, and all that. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it's a knockoff of. Because
good.
all these components. There are magic cell phones. And
I hate that.
a magic Facebook called Facebook.
We're not going to get along.
The characters are Darcy and Tori, who are twins who just turned 18 and just got out of
Double homicide.
They just got out of foster care. Darcy's not like other girls because she has blue on the tips of her hair. And Tori looks just like her, but not with blue hair. Then we have Orion.
Not like other girls, but just like that girl.
Yeah, exactly right. We have Orion, who is a mean, hot Professor X, minus wheelchair.
Still bald? So not the same at all.
He can do mind stuff.
Cool.
And then we have a harem of
Saddles.
mean, hot fae bullies. And this is why people say reverse harem, because that's how you know men.
It's just a harem. Because the women, it's not going to be women with a bunch of women. You said women, and then you said their harem. And then
that's very cis of you.
No, it's not. Because say their names and then be like, oh, those are a bunch of dudes. Or then just use their pronouns.
They're men. I would like to objectify them.
You just said they were men.
I said mean, hot fae bullies. I didn't say men.
You said boys.
Harem of mean, hot fae bullies.
I thought you said boys.
Oh,
I thought you said boys.
Oh, that's funny. Bullies. And the bringing. Tori and Darcy have just left foster care. Their foster dad kicked them out the exact hour they turned 18, and they were not able to grab their stash of cash.
First off, he wasn't there when they were born. How would he know the exact hour they turned 18?
That was a Saturday.
Oh.
For dramatic effect. He did.
He was like, well, your birth certificate said 701, so get the fuck out.
To be safe, he kicked them out the day before they turned 18. Because he was like, I just made sure I didn't take care of you at all when you were 18. He kicked them out.
I'm pretty sure you can get sued for that.
they weren't exactly clamoring to stay with him. They were not able to grab their stash of cash that they had saved up before he kicked them out, so Darcy tries to break back in and get it. She's chased out of the house by who she assumes is a cop, but is actually Orion tracking her and her sister down.
This already seems exactly like that Passion Flicks movie we watched.
It probably is. They're in the USA right now. So
the US of A.
They're in the United States. Tori tries to recoup some of that money for them by stealing a motorcycle that is worth $40,000. But since it's a limited edition motorcycle, her dealer, like a fence person, will only give her $400.
Okay.
When she gets home, Orion is waiting there and he compels her to let him into their apartment. He explains that they're changelings and their real parents were the rich
pieces of shit who left them there.
They were the richest people in Solaria. They sent them away from their wonderful, rich, enchanted life to let them rot in human foster care.
Yeah, literally. And who the fuck are you?
They teleport via Stardust to Solaria and are dropped smack in the middle of a welcome speech to the students. They have some ceremony called the Awakening, where they stand there and test the students for the power of elements.
The sorting hat.
It's literally. I feel like at one point there was a typo and they called it the sorting hat. They call them the houses and everything. Yeah.
J.K. Rowling's writing up a lawsuit somewhere.
They're like, hey, what if Harry Potter and all the students were college students? Who would fuck? So they stand there and test the students for the power of the elements. And they're supposed to only test positive for one element, but the girls end up having all.
Marjars, you are the most magical Marjars who's ever magic.
Margics. They have to train for something called the Reckoning, where they will earn an official spot at the school. Students who have multiple powers have to choose which house they will belong to because...
Divergent.
Sure. Orion makes piercing eye contact with Darcy and his eyes drink her in.
I literally thought you meant they were getting a piercing, but okay, go off.
They then follow the other students to the magical quad, and it is a giant orb.
Orgy. Okay, keep on.
Tori immediately catches the attention of the hot fae harem of men. One of them attacks her and bites her in the neck while no one interferes, and some people laugh at her, and it's horrific.
It's me. It's me. I'm laughing at her. What the fuck?
Apparently, he is a vampire, and he doesn't have...
Vampire?
He doesn't have any power. He gets his by draining other people.
Wolfpire.
So he's just a human.
He's that guy from What We Do in the Shadows. The energy vampire from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes. No, I was like, he's basically just a man because he has no powers and drains them from women. Turns out the four of them are the house captains. They're not allowed, Tori and Darcy are not allowed to pick the same house as each other because then that house would be too powerful. So Darcy goes to the air house and the house head is a werewolf, so he licks her cheek to say hello.
I want to go home. The fuck is that?
They haze all of the new people.
That wasn't the hazing? No. That was it right there. He licked me. I'm done.
They make them jump off a cliff.
I would take jumping me off a cliff or being licked by a stranger.
But it's just a step off the ground. They just make them think it's a cliff. So then they shit on her dad for being a bad king and tell her to jump off the campus tower or cut her hair.
First off, I don't know that man.
Then I'll be specific.
I also think he's a bad king.
Right.
And dad.
I don't know that bitch. She ends up jumping off the cliff and summons her wind power so she doesn't die. Tori goes.
She was choosing death over cutting her hair?
Yeah.
Weird.
Tori goes with the firehouse for her hazing. She is chased through a lava cave by a lion and then has to fight a bunch of fire mannequins.
Oh, so good.
She's supposed to control the fire, but instead she douses them in water because she can't control her powers at all. But there aren't any rules on how she gets through, just that she lives, so it's fine.
You know, if it was Akatar, she wouldn't be able to read, so...
Right. Lastly, they tell her to step through a fire ring that will burn away her mortal life. But it's a lie, and they just burn her clothes off and let her stand in front of the whole house naked.
Fun.
Then the house head hits on her and tells her he can give her a real house welcome.
Ooh!
And she says no and shoulder checks him and leaves to cry in her room.
Everything is just a weird allusion to an orgy.
Yeah. The power in her purrs with appreciation for the flames. Darcy is doing great now, though, by the way, because she was a little embarrassed by the step jumping trick, but she made a good comeback by jumping off the tower and saying...
I'm also embarrassed by the step jumping trick, so we have that in common.
Her house house head werewolf is super handsy with her because he's an alpha. So another mid-white guy. There's a royal club of supporters of the girls who have been like supporting their family from afar.
That help would have been great when we were dying in foster care.
Generally.
Fuck off. Yeah, that would have been nice when we were at Boys and Girls Club.
He was such a shit king. He was assassinated.
Joke's on you, it was me.
They had to split the power between the factions, and so things were a lot more peaceful because they were working together. So when the girls are back, they're all upset because they think that the power is going to be consolidated again, and they don't want that. The girls don't give a fuck, though. So they basically have like a fan club already because
the writer wrote it like that.
Yeah, most people don't want them there, but there's like a few that are still have loyalty to their fan.
I don't want them to be there either. I think they should leave.
The acronym for this fan club is
SLUT. Close but no cigar.
There's this like nerdy girl who's the head of the ass fan club.
It's me. I'm the head of the ass fan club.
And they call her ass girl. And they're not very nice to her. Someone sits with them and tries to speak Spanish to them because they're brown, but they were too poor as foster kids to learn Spanish. They're like, oh, there's Spanish here in Solaria? And he's like, yeah, we have Hispanics. It's a mirror world. They go to class and start getting ominous message on Facebook from an anonymous fake account about some like impending doom. Orion's eyes shimmer with a deep heat. One of the kids makes a comment about all the girls having a crush on their professor, so Orion slams his head into a desk. Apparently, Solaria is not a mirror world of the human world because there are no lawsuits for that.
Yeah.
And for someone who came to the human world to pick them up when they had no idea and never would have come on their own, he's an asshole. You contacted me.
No longer interested.
They call me sir. They go outside and there are unicorns, but they're not unicorns. They are Pegasi, shapeshifters. And Darcy calls them horse-faced molesters.
Whoa!
And they go to their next class where that vampire douche from earlier tries to feed on her again. And tells her she has no idea how good she tastes. And says he can't figure out why she doesn't like it when he feeds from her.
Weird, huh?
And tells her that no one else can feed from her.
Great, because I was planning on just letting anybody.
Turns out she's really good at making fire, even though he just drained most of her power through his vampirism. She accidentally burns her teacher, so the teacher refers her for some intimate tutoring by one of those hot harem fae bullies.
I fail to see how they got 20 books out of this.
They just do. This is 500 pages. Darcy's next class goes fine, but it's time for her first session with Orion. She keeps getting ominous messages from that anonymous fae book, and she has to walk through these deep, creepy, enchanted woods to get to Orion's office for some reason. And she's accosted by those bullies, and they compel her to kiss their feet and run from them while they chase her for fun. And a deep heat mixed with fear settles in her belly.
Ew.
So all of the fae can use like compulsion, but because they're new here, they're the only ones who don't know how to resist it. So they use it to fuck with them the whole time. She uses the wind to get away from them. She runs into some mean girls who take pictures of her and post them all over Facebook immediately. He magically cleans her off while drinking on the job and then feeds from her arm. Why are you with this middle-aged weirdo?
Does he have a lot of money?
He says he's going to provide guidance only on his time and terms and how he feels like it. And that he reads her palm and is immediately jealous that her powers are almost the highest they can possibly be. Yeah, her parents were the powerful people. Whatever.
Powerful people popper.
He also tells her that her parents were most likely murdered and that she needs to figure out how she replenishes her power. So since they came so late to the party, they don't know what category they fit into, like with the werewolves and the vampires. So werewolves get their replenish their power from the moon, and vampires replenish their power through smooching off people, and sirens get their power through feeding off people's emotions. So that we have to figure out how you replenish yours because they don't know.
It's sex. Be so for real, it has to be.
He only just now starts to teach her how to shield from those coercion powers. Tor gets up and checks Facebook and sees pictures of her naked from the hazing put up there. No worries, the guy who posted it gets docked 10 points from his permanent record.
10 points from Gryffindor!
He's told that he has to share the photo privately, not publicly. That's all that happened for him posting her.
Homie!
So she does accost him.
Since it's your property, you gotta keep that to yourself.
She does hunt him down in the orb and makes him delete it, but it's too late because he already shared it with everyone.
The way they were trying to make sure that it got tastefully distributed to the right people, but also like, what the fuck? Ew!
Share between you.
Oh my god, we make our own rules.
One of the girls calls her a two-bit alley whore. After the back and forth, they go into the woods for the next class and run into one of their teachers wearing tiny little swim trunks in the woods. And he gives them gross...
In the woods?
Mm-hmm. He gives them gross, lecherous hugs, and apparently he's a siren who drains people's power through their emotions.
Shouldn't he not be allowed to do that as a teacher?
Yeah, he shouldn't. You're right. The end. The next morning, there's a news report that a body was found on the ground somewhere, and they assume it was a nymph who did it because nymphs don't have power inherently, so they have to kill a fae and take it from them. At breakfast, the guy who posted that naked picture of Tori tries to compel she and Darcy to make out together.
Why would you even get near that person ever again?
Because they're hungry. The next class is a tarot class. Apparently, there's no set schedule. They just have random inconsistent classes all the time, willy-nilly. Because it's never like, oh, on Tuesdays we have tarot, and on Wednesdays we have whatever. They're just like, and now tarot class. At tarot class, Darcy pulls a card that says someone is being dishonest around her, but she can't intuit who it is, so it's just some more useless, ominous bullshit. Next class is werewolf management or some shit like that. And the lesson plan is to get naked and run through the woods. Since they aren't werewolves, just ride one of the werewolves to some pool and howl at the moon and then get left there.
Can you imagine being a werewolf and an assignment at school is to let a naked person ride on your back? I'd just be like, Dear Diary, I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit. Let someone ride on my back naked, bare balls, slapping.
So Tori goes into the woods to practice her magic and runs into those bullies. Apparently she didn't learn from Darcy's experience, and these guys just hang out in the woods for a big old circle.
Apparently the teachers haven't learned from anything.
No. They don't see her at first, and they're just having a good old-fashioned gossip sesh. They talk about how they have to make sure that the twins don't pass the reckoning and make a plan to accost Tori outside her room in the morning to fuck with her and feed from her. Then she hears one of them on his magic phone having a shady conversation, so she follows him to the faculty housing and overhears him conspiring with Orion to straight up murder them. She goes back to campus and stays at her sister's for the night. Tori tells her everything. They decide to message that anonymous Facebook account to ask if it knows anything. The fake account gives them no information, except that they think that the hot harem of bullies had something to do with their parents' death.
Some high schoolers.
They're in college, and they would have been
children.
In class the next day, some girl is passing out flyers to a party, and she tells them they're not invited.
None for Glen Coco.
Orion reads Tori's palm too to check her magic, and then feeds from her in front of everyone.
Ooh.
A picture of him doing so is immediately posted to Facebook. And the bully who told everyone that no one but he could feed from her bursts into the room and body slams Orion for doing so. And then they each agree to take one sister to feed from. And then he leaves and everyone acts like nothing happened. He's like, I'll take that one, you take that one.
Ew! And one of these people is a teacher, one isn't.
Well, one's like a house head, so he's like an RA.
That's
type.
gross.
Teacher's assistant type.
That's gross.
Then he tells Darcy to see him after class and explains to her that until she can fight him off, he will be feeding from her twice a week.
That's rare as fuck. Until you can fight me up. Jail? Boop, boop, boop. 911, what's your emergency? Bum, 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 bum.
Tori runs into the guy who was planning with Orion to kill her in the mailroom. They go to their next class, which also has no lesson plan aside from exploring a cave. They keep running into the girl who is the head of the Ass fan club, and they call her Ass Girl, and they're not very nice to her.
They call me that too, it's fine.
Which is bold coming from people who have literally no friends and a million enemies. The vampire bully tells her she should apologize for Orion having fed from her and tells her he owns her. She tells him to feed from her if he must, but it's no fun if she's into it, so he throws her over his shoulder and does a Twilight moment where he brings her to the edge of a cliff. And he tells her they all want her again. She tells him that they just want to get their inheritance money and dip. They really don't give a shit about like being kings, queens, fae, whatever, in charge. She's been practicing her coercion magic herself, so she compels him not to drop her off the cliff, and then he feeds from her. Friday night comes.
I don't think that there should be a category of coercion magic. That should be in the blacklisty section that no one should do. That's horrible.
Friday night comes and they decide to go party and they see Ass Girl on their way out. And she has dyed her hair to match Darcy's.
Oh, good.
They then shit on their Hispanic friend for having a shitty car.
That's wildly racist.
Yeah. And they go out on the town, which is basically Hogsmeade.
Great.
They see Orion on a date. Darcy is immediately jealous.
Of course.
They all get to drinking.
I wish I was drinking.
Because apparently Mirror World doesn't care about children consuming alcohol.
England, they can drink if they're 16. You said they were in college.
Yeah, it was not in England.
You said they were in England, and you said that they were...
The authors are in England.
And you said that this was school or college.
There's a conversation they have where they're like, oh, we don't have to be 21.
Okay.
This is in the United States of America, Solaria. Jesus Christ. Ass still finds them at the restaurant that they're eating at and has made them all pins that say ass. And she doesn't care that the acronym is embarrassing as hell. On the way to the bathroom, Darcy hears Orion conspiring to kill her with his date. Orion has not heard of keeping his plans to himself as an option. He follows her to the bathroom and tells her to chill out and then leaves.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. Maybe you should also learn to whisper. I'll do that and you do this. Deal?
They get a message from the anonymous Facebook and it tells them to meet in a dark alley close to where they are. When they get to the dark alley, they are attacked by a shadow figure and only narrowly escape.
Weird that that's what would happen in a dark alley in the middle of the night with a stranger.
They run into that creepy siren teacher from earlier with the little swimsuit, and he is ready and willing to be a shoulder to cry on.
Gross.
They run into the bullies as well, who tell them that they should all put their differences aside for the evening and have fun. First of all, you also
have an orgy,
basically.
Yeah.
So they drink and gyrate the night away while Orion watches. The lights of the club flip on, ruining the vibe, and the DJ announces that all the students have to be taken back to campus because Ass Girl has been attacked. Orion has used all of his power to save her, so he needs to feed from Darcy to replenish.
Okay, well, they didn't like Ass Girl, so why'd he do that?
Save her?
Yeah.
Just leave her to die.
Why not?
The next morning, the werewolf that licked Darcy's face right at the beginning pops up outside her room and asks her if her cherry has been popped. Apologizes for his atrocious behaviors.
Including asking if her cherry had been popped? Was that included in the apology? Good God. Disgusting.
She melts all over his Puss in Boots face.
Well, that's what he wanted, so melty pussy. Gross!
Photos of them gyrating all over that harem are plastered all over the internet. They go visit Ass Girl in the hospital, and she's fine, but doesn't know anything about who attacked her. Darcy goes to her next session with Orion, and he is pissy about her grinding on age-appropriate men.
As he should be.
She accuses him of having something to do with the attack, but it turns out that there's evidence that it was a nymph that did it.
I'm going with it wasn't the nymphs.
You know. She asks if he wants her and Tori dead, and he says no.
Liar.
Now, Tori goes to her tutoring session with that harem boy, but he doesn't show, and apparently hasn't come to any of their sessions at all, ever. So she goes to his room to tell him off, and she finds him laying in bed, rolling in money.
Me too, man. That's what I would be doing.
Because he regenerates his power through gold, and he tells her he's an apex predator.
He's rolling in money, and that's how he regenerates his power, because he's an apex predator. He's Andrew Tate.
She decides that he is her exact brand of temptation.
This is so foul.
He drops his pants and tells her if she ever comes to his room again, it better be for him to bend her over. Then he jumps out of the window and turns into a dragon.
Why, Lord? What have I done? Holy shitballs.
At their next class, they practice feeding off people's emotions.
Is one of them here now? Because it seems like it.
Darcy admits to the group that she is lusting after Orion, and Tori tells a sad story about getting trapped in a car that was sinking in a river, so she's afraid of water.
Vampire Diaries.
Then everyone gets naked again.
Surprise, surprise! Everyone's nude.
This time they turn into mermaids. At lunch, one of the harem boys slips something into Darcy's pocket and tells her to read it later. He's like, this is for you for later.
The way that I would have pulled it out and read it in front of him.
Apparently, one of those bullies had a girlfriend this whole time, but they have been aggressively pursuing the twins, and she has a shit fit and takes the note, and apparently it was him asking her to a dance, which is stupid. I thought he was going to give her some actual helpful information.
Do you want to go to prom with me? Check yes or no.
Basically. After class later, that same girl goes to confront Tori.
Why are you confronting me about something I didn't do? Confront me about something your boyfriend did? Go confront him. The fuck?
Fine.
I just got here.
She scares the girl off with her power. The same vampire finds her for a hearty lech. He kisses her and wants more than blood and power from her.
Pussy.
They do hand stuff.
Not pussy. My bad.
A lot of huffing and puffing from the voice actors. We did the graphic audio. Truly graphic.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
Was this audio porn? Oh my God, no.
It was a lot of moaning and huffing and puffing.
That's disgusting. There are some jobs that I was not meant for.
She's relieved that they don't have to hate each other anymore.
I hated it. I'm relieved that I can't hate this, actually.
She lets him feed from her to compensate for leaving him aching for more.
Again, the worst crime that anyone could ever commit.
They get ready for the dance, and I promise you, they are wearing those dresses you hate.
The fucking loincloth dresses. What are you wearing? 2 big slits. that I was not born with.
Not my natural slit.
It's the name of a drug company.
Natural slit. As they are heading into the orb for the dance, they get another message from the anonymous Facebook profile telling them to meet in the library.
Oh my god, just block it!
They do not find it suspicious that this meeting went so damn poorly last time. They finally meet that person in the library, and it's their old-ass tarot professor from earlier. He tells them that their dad was a real POS king, and everyone hated him.
Every single person has told us this. You've brought nothing new to the table. I would have turned around and left. Oh, skirt! I got a whole dance to go to, and I've heard this from everybody, including the lunch lady. Oh, he sucked at his job? Okay, bye! Okay, bye! Fuck out of here! Oh, thanks for not the last piece of that puzzle.
He says everyone hated him, so they offed him. And he tells them that the nymphs were blamed for it, but they could not have been acting alone.
Oh, cool. The nymphs have been blamed for everything in this book, too. Welcome to the party.
Whoever did it is probably after them, too. And that's where that dead body came from. And that's probably who attacked Askell. He thinks it's Orion and one of the harem boys who is out to get them now. He skitters away, and the girls go back to the dance. Tori gets distracted by talking to a vampire and loses track of Darcy. Goes outside to find her, and one of the harem follows her and tells her that she has one last chance to leave Solaria on her own. And when she says no, he says, fuck you, and takes her hostage to teach her some respect.
Fair.
So now Tori is the one missing, and Darcy runs into Orion and tells her to stop flirting with the devil. In parentheses, that's just the werewolf who licked her. And tells her it's inappropriate for them to be alone outside, while a carnivorous look creeps into his eyes. They almost kiss when said werewolf interrupts them like the cuck-ass motherfucker he is. Orion telling her to stay away from the werewolf has riled her up something crazy, quote unquote.
Ew.
So she dry humps the werewolf in the garden, and he waits until she's hot and bothered and then cuts her hair.
Oh my god. Ew.
And there are a bunch of people waiting in the bushes, watching and filming the whole thing for Facebook.
Weird that she wouldn't like him.
Orion finds her blubbering about it, and she realizes that they are probably going to do something horrible to Tori too, so she runs to find her. Tori is yanked into the campus swimming pool area, and they try to force her off the high dive since she's afraid of water and can barely swim. They use the power of wind to push her off of it, and then freeze it over to trap her underneath. Darcy and Orion burst in to save her, and the harem gets detention.
So a homicide attempt.
And they get detention.
And only detention.
Yes.
Cool.
Right?
This is such a good book.
Someone screams from outside, and they go out and find a body burned to a crisp. It's that guy that scurried away from the library. And they know this because he's holding a tarot card. He leaves them a bunch of subliminal messages that make no sense.
Cool.
The end.
Oh my god.
So they call it a bully romance.
Just a bully period.
I can't decide if I'm going to keep reading.
I wouldn't.
You would read 9 books worth?
I wouldn't.
You would read 9 books worth?
Fuck no.
Why?
I wouldn't read one book worth.
It's supposed to be like the vibe of Vampire Diaries.
They don't bully her in the Vampire Diaries.
No. So we're doing the fiction fix, or where are they now?
Fiction fix. Burn it.
You can't say that every time.
You know, I don't believe in banning books or burning books, but you should burn this.
You can't say that every time. You're always like, I hated it.
Canon. That's what makes me me. If you wanted someone else's opinion, you should go read their podcast.
Fiction fix it. Three times.
I can't fix that, bitch.
Try.
Burn it. Start over. Keep the name, that's all.
They didn't need to be 4 hair.
There just need to be 19 books.
Right? Towards the end, when they took her to the...
Keep the name only.
When they took her to the pool, I was like, okay, it's getting good. It's getting like a dark...
A very end.
Like a swim fan vibe. Like a dark academia swim fan creepy vibe. And I was like, that's cool.
Violently awful.
But...
Fucking licking people's faces. Don't do that. Committing crimes. Don't do that.
There could have been just 2
If they're not fucking, why you have a harem?
Did you want to learn the name of those 4 men?
No.
Exactly. That's why they're a harem. Also, didn't have to be about twins.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
It could have just been about one girl. I think that a decrease in the cast of characters would have been ideal.
I feel like they made it twins because they were like, one of them is each of us.
What creeps me out is that all 4 of them were pursuing the twins in equal measure. That's like a situation of wires crossing that I wouldn't appreciate. I also thought something was going to happen with the ass girl who dyed her hair blue. Aside from her just almost getting killed, but she was fine.
I assumed that she got beat up because she looked like her.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
I didn't read this book. They were planning to kill her. That girl dyed her hair like her, and they found her half dead.
I think Darcy gets with Orion. I don't know how they're gonna make that work. Clearly, there's no like standards and practices board at the school or whatever. And I think Tori fucks all four of those guys. Thank you for listening to Read It and Screech. If you would like to support our podcast, you can always rate, review, and subscribe.
Don't send me a book like that ever again.
Find us on TikTok and YouTube at Read It and Screech, right?
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 Right?